I'm Cheney. Welcome back to my channel, a place where you can find all things self-development, lifestyle and intentional living. If you're someone who's into creating simplicity and ease in your life and you're on a journey to become a better you, then hit that subscribe button to make sure that you do not miss a post. In this week's video, I'm going to be talking to you about money. Again, how I saved £10,000 in 1 year with an income under £30,000. I've watched a lot of these types of videos and I always find the comment sections are flooded with remarks like, easy to say when you're on a ridiculous wage, or I don't even make that much money, how am I supposed to save that? Well, the tips that I'm going to be sharing with you today will work for you no matter what your salary, because they are all adjustable to your requirements, needs and preferences. So let's just get straight into it, and my first tip for you is to plan ahead. First step to achieving a financial saving goal is to plan ahead and actually set a goal. You cannot save for something that you haven't actually planned for. Think about the next year or two ahead and think about what you might like to achieve and what are the costs associated with that thing. If buying a house is on your agenda, I would even consider a 3 to 5 year plan. The longer you give yourself to achieve a goal, the easier it is. However, that doesn't mean that you can't be super ambitious and achieve it in a shorter amount of time. Just make sure that you are also realistic when planning this. This is essential regardless of your salary, as it sets a time frame for your success. This leads me to my next step, which is to know your monthly essentials. The first step to working out what you've realistically got to save each month is to know what your monthly expenditure is. What gets paid out every single month without fail. Prioritize your bills and direct debits and work out a total for all of that. If you want to learn how to do this in more depth, I do have a free Google template which I will link down below, which you can use this to work out all of your expenditure and essential direct debits, etc. on. I have also got a video that I did explaining how this spreadsheet and this template works and all of the details involved in it. So if you'd also like to watch that and go along with it, I'll link that in the description box below for you. Once you know that each month has £600, for example, that has to go on bills and direct debits and monthly essentials like food, not only are you sensibly prioritizing your essentials and making sure your funds are there for those, you also now have a base to work with. You've covered everything that has to go out and everything that you need to spend in order to survive each month. Deduct your essential monthly spend, so the 600 figure, from your net monthly income, and this gives you a figure that you can really play with. This figure that you have left is basically your free money, money that isn't allocated to something already, so that you can choose where to allocate it. Regardless of your income, everybody has outgoings and you will need to know how much disposable income you have each month. Yes, having a higher salary might mean that you have more disposable money to work with each month, but not necessarily. I usually say that it's relative. The more money that people earn and have coming in, usually the more money that they have going out, as they choose more expensive things to buy, like cars for example. The nicer the things you have, the more money they cost to maintain. There are two ways to go about the next part, and that depends on whether you have a fixed deadline on when you want to achieve this goal, or if you're flexible on when you achieve it, but you just want to make sure that you're saving for it bit by bit. So let's just start with the approach that you're flexible, and when you achieve this goal, you just want to make sure that you are chipping away at it slowly. First, decide what you can reasonably live off outside of your bills. This will be money to spend with people that you love, going out with friends, and also to treat yourself. This figure is completely different for everyone and totally depends on how strict you're trying to be or need to be. Finally, deduct this livable money budget that you've just decided on, and also deduct this off of your disposable money. The figure you have left after this is the money that you have left to allocate to savings. So for example, if you take £2,000 home a month, just thinking of a round figure, you have £600 in direct debits and bills and essential expenditure that you have to spend on each month. And you've decided that £600 a month is also enough for you to live on and see your friends, go out for a drink, buy a few new clothes, makeup, whatever it is that you want to spend your money on and for you to live on, your splurge money. That means you have £1,200 worth of money that you can't touch. That also means that £2,000 of your income minus your £1,200 that you've just allocated to direct debit and bills and also money to live off leaves you with £800. This £800 figure is your savings money, and you can allocate that money into as many different saving pots as you would like or as you need to. Just bear in mind, if you are splitting between multiple pots and you are trying to save for multiple things all at the same time, you will find that you reach your target slower because you're spreading your money thinner. But it's all relative, to be honest. If you put all of that money away to one goal and bash one goal out, you've still got all those other goals to save for. Now for the approach, if you have an impending deadline you must meet. For example, you've booked a holiday and you have to pay the balance by a certain date. First of all, work out how much money do you need for that date. Let's just use £1,000 as a round ballpark figure. Then divide that £1,000 into the amount of time that you have left to save for it. Now I do this in months, so let's just say you've got 10 months to save your £1,000 to pay off your holiday. That means £1,000 divided by your 10 months gives you £100 a month to be on target. In this scenario, whatever your saving figures and targets may be, splurge money, so you're spending money for friends and fun and personal things, sometimes gets squeezed. And this is because you're actually prioritizing the saving over your spending. So this is the two main differences with both of these approaches. I personally am this type of approach kind of gal. I usually squeeze my disposable income for friends and personal enjoyment to prioritize my saving goals, but that's just me. This is also why I prefer to plan ahead for the next 2 to 3 years, because even if you've got deadlines for things, as I said, the longer time you give yourself to save for it, it means the smaller increments you need to put away each month, because you've got a longer time to do that, which means not only are you working your way towards your saving goals and you're going to meet your exact deadline, you've also got enough or more disposable income to play with each month because you've given yourself bigger leeway to save. Planning is everything, and it will determine how easily you reach these goals and also how much you might have to sacrifice in order to reach these goals. The next mindset mantra I want you to cultivate is save first, spend later. So as I just said, based on the scenarios that I just gave you, you can easily identify that the first one, the flexible saving, prioritizes spending first and not saving, whereas the second scenario, where you save first and then make do with whatever money you've got left afterwards, prioritizes saving first. Flexible approach means your deadline to achieving your goal will probably move back further and further each month because you might allow yourself more and more to spend each month, whereas the second approach guarantees that you will have met your goal by a set deadline. The main mistake that most people that I know make is that when they've run out of their disposable money for the month, their money for friends and personal enjoyment, they then go back into their savings and take the money they've put away back out so they have more money to spend. We are not going to do this. Absolutely no. Once our disposable income runs out, that is it, sissies, okay? You have to wait until next month's money rolls in so you've got a new amount of disposable income to play with. If you cannot master this small mindset and way of being, you will never reach your savings goals. Your savings pot will forever be topped up and then taken back out of again. Change your association with money so that you get an adrenaline rush by seeing the money in your savings accounts rack up month to month, as opposed to buying a new pair of shoes or your 10th pint in the pub. Be realistic when calculating your figures. Do not commit yourself to saving £1,000 a month and only leaving yourself £50 a month of disposable income for you to enjoy and spend on what you want, because you are highly unlikely to stick to that. If you do something like that, you're already setting yourself up for failure. It does need to be realistic. As I said, if you realize that you've got a lot you want to save for and your income isn't that great, planning ahead is really essential for you, because you're going to need all of that extra time to make sure that you can still live and achieve your goals. Saving needs to be manageable for you. There is an art to finding the balance here between giving yourself enough money so that you don't feel deprived and then end up binge spending, but also not being so excessive that you're not actually saving much at all and probably enjoying yourself a little bit too much. That balance will be different for every person, but it's important that you find where that is for you, and you might find that the first month or 3 might be a trial and error for you, but that's okay. Finally, be patient with this. There's a reason that we plan for big things, and it's because we have to. It's because we don't have big salaries and wages to just buy what we want. So it's fine, we can have those things that we want, we just have to take a more organized approach to it. Seeing the money build up in your accounts is so worth it in the end, I promise. You never know, you may reach your goal and decide you don't want to spend that money anymore because you just love seeing it in the bank so much. Saving is a habit. Now, I have done a video on how to cultivate and create new habits and actually make sure that they stay for good. I will link that in the description box below if you'd like to check that out. Saving is also a lifestyle. It is not something that you just do on occasion. It needs to be a part of your routine. Even if you have no goals or you have nothing that you need to save for, you should always just save money for just in case. I always advocate having a float or a contingency account, which basically is just a lump sum of money that you have sitting there for in case things go wrong. It's a pot of money to put out your financial fires. Let's just say you get hit with a real big bill that comes out of nowhere that you weren't expecting, or there is a massive accident and you have to pay a huge excess out. Whatever it is, it's always good just to save just in case. So now for a few little tricks to help managing your money easier. All of the things I just mentioned are essential and invaluable, but you can totally maximize on this with a few additional money tips. Number 1 is to use a fixed term term saver. Fixed term saver is a savings account where you can keep putting money in regularly each month, but you cannot take that money out until an agreed date with the bank has reached or matured. You can get fixed term savers that range from 1 year to 5 years. Usually the minimum term is 1 year, so just be aware if you are going to do this, you will not be able to reach your money for a year. Remember, you cannot get your money out once it's in until the date that you've agreed has reached. So bear that in mind when opening these accounts out. If this is your first time using a fixed term saver, I'd recommend just going for a year fixed term saver, as that is the shortest term that you can have. Fixed term savers are great if you're someone that just cannot save money and the temptation to dip into your savings pot is just too much. This puts a barrier there so you physically cannot get that money out. It's just helping you cultivate that mindset. Or perhaps you've just not been very good at saving before and you just need a little help to get you into the habit. Fixed term savers are your friend. They are there to protect your money from you. They're also really, really easy to set up, and they are a guaranteed way that your money will grow, providing that you keep putting in every single month. Send money to somebody you trust to look after it for you so that you can only access it if there is an emergency. Alternative to a fixed term saver is to send money to someone you really, really, really trust. This means you still can't access the money because it's not your account, but if you really desperately did need to get money out in case of an emergency, you could just ask this person and they could send it to you. If you are going to take this approach, seriously consider who you are sending your money to, because there is no guarantee that that person is going to send your money back. So make sure that you can trust this person 100%. The safest people to usually do this with are family members. I would not recommend sending them to friends, really, unless... I just can't stress enough how important it is to be aware that if you send your money to someone else, you may not get it back. So it is important that you know who you're sending it to and that you can trust them. And finally, set up auto payments. This is actionable by anyone and is only ever good for you. It helps you keep good credit and also makes paying your bills that little bit easier. If you set up auto payments to pay your bills the same day or the day after you get paid, it means you almost don't even notice that money leaving your account. You also haven't had to manually remember to do it. If it turns out that you've overpaid 1 month, it just means that you'll be in credit the next month. You can always adjust these auto payments at any time if your bill figures change. This way just makes sure that you're paying your bills on time and making paying your bills a priority of your money. These are just a few tips that can help you and are just really easily and actionable by everyone. There are so many money management tips out there. I could go on and on and on, but this video would end up being super long. So if you would like a video on money management tips, please do just let me know in the comment section below and I'll be happy to film that for you. Otherwise, that's it for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you got some value from it. I wish you the best of luck with your savings. Savings can be so tough sometimes, but my God, it is so fulfilling. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you never miss an upload, which is every single Saturday. You can also find me on Instagram if you'd like to ask me any additional questions, which is at Cheney Parsons. I'll also leave a link in the description box below. Otherwise, once again, thank you so much for watching. I really am grateful for all of you, and I will see you next week.